Good morning, Loz. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Did you sleep well after the fireworks?
I did, actually. I was very impressed with my area. It was pretty much bang on 11. It was all done and dusted. And it wasn't too crazy. Like, I had the TV on in the bedroom and it just was fine. Like, it wasn't, disruptive.
No. Look, there were a couple, I was on the phone chatting to someone between 10 and 11 because I just thought there's no point going to sleep.
No, it will wake you up.
I was going to try, but, and I was having, when you have, do you do this? I've got to tell you this. It's a bit embarrassing, but when you're talking to someone on the phone, do you ever have micro sleeps? Like, they talk about micro sleeps are dangerous if you're driving, but if you're talking to someone on the phone at home, it's okay. Do you like drift in and out sometimes when you're talking to someone?
No.
Really? You give them your full attention?
Yeah, well,
even if it's late and you're feeling sleepy?
If it was late and I was feeling sleepy, I would get off the phone.
I've been doing this since I was young.
Really?
So when I've been talking to people, I have little micro sleeps. I've never done the whole fall asleep on someone completely, and I've had many people do that to me.
That is not something you want to admit.
Well, no, but especially if you're late night chats with your girlfriend or something like that, that's okay. I don't mind. I think they feel comfortable, That's how I see it. They feel comfortable enough to fall asleep talking to you.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the situation. Like, if it was someone that I was, like, dating or something and it was that whole, let's stay on the phone and then we fall asleep together, that's different.
That's nice, isn't it?
If you're having a conversation with someone, though, and you're having micro sleeps on each other, then it means that what you're talking about is severely not interesting.
Or it could be just like me, completely fatigued because I didn't have much sleep the night before.
That's true too. But see, in that situation, I would just say to the person, I'm really tired. I wanted to talk. I wanted to chat. But if you're tired enough to be falling asleep, then maybe you don't want to talk.
But let's go back to Territory Day. I didn't want to fall asleep because of the noise. I knew the noise would wake me. And once you get woken up, then you're awake. If you have a big bang go off near your door, like while I was on the phone to my friend, big bangs went off. I was going, whoa.
Yeah, see, in that situation, I would just put on music or the TV or something and relax.
My TV's not that loud. This was loud.
I wouldn't, but I'm sure someone on the phone isn't loud.
Not as loud as the banging, no.
That's what I mean.
But I wouldn't have, my point being is if I'd gone to sleep and done the right thing for my body.
Oh, no, I'm not saying go to sleep.
I wouldn't have been able to sleep because I would have been woken up and got a fright.
No,
you get a fright when because you're dreaming about something.
It's like when you have those falling sleeps.
Oh, don't you hate those?
So, no, I don't mean that it would drown it out, but I mean that if I was on the phone to someone and I was tired enough to be having micro sleeps, but I didn't want to go to sleep because of the fireworks, then I would just put the TV or music on.
Well, you might do the opposite to what I did. I was on the phone with the light off, laying on the bed, as you do. You probably would sit up with the light bright in your face.
Yeah.
I think that would stop that.
Yeah.
I think it would. But having said that, the micro sleeps are really good for you. Not when you're driving, of course, but they're really good for you because they do give you a little bit of energy.
Yeah, right.
They just bring you back in, so yeah.
Interesting.
You don't want them to be too good because then you won't go to sleep. When it is time to hit the sack, you won't do it because you've had too much energy from them, like a little bit of what do they say, a new lease, what is it, new wave?
Yeah, you get a second wind.
Second wind, that's it, thank you. I knew you'd know, all the meanings. Well, how did second wind come about?
I have no idea.
Because you know all the meanings of everything.
I'm actually not sure.
I used one the other day.
Now I need to know.
I've used an analogy the other day and I can't remember what it was, which is a bit unfortunate. But at the time I said, I really wish Loz was here because she'd know the meaning of that, because I was explaining it to a friend who doesn't come from this country, whatever this meaning was, and I was trying to explain it. It was a real Aussie one too. It was one of those real Aussie ones, and it might come to me, and I was like trying to explain. I was like, because we just know it. It's one of those Aussie ones that we just know. What's an Aussie analogy that we would use?
I've blanked now.
Yeah, now we've blanked.
It's like, when you know thousands, but then the second someone says, tell me one, you're like, I've got no idea.
Maybe I'll remember it off air and we bring it up in the next section.
Potentially. That can be our cliffhanger.
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think so. Definitely not.
Yeah, not interesting enough for that.
Not interesting enough for that, no. But look, there's all these things that we say and all these things that we do.
Yeah.
And I kind of think, so if you imagine if you're from another country and you come to this country and you hear people saying that, you go, what do you mean?
I actually know so I've got a friend of mine who is Scottish.
Yes.
And oftentimes there was a period of time where she lived with me, and oftentimes I would say something without thinking, like, that type of analogy you're saying or whatnot, and she'd go, what?
What are you saying?
Like, what are you talking about? That is like the strangest thing ever.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of one now, but there was a few, and, She's like, I don't understand what that means. And then I'd have
Why can't we think of any?
And then I would have to Google them because then she'd be like, what does that mean? And I'd be like, well, but then you can't put it into words what it means. So I'd have to Google it to explain it properly because I'm like, I just know what it means.
Yeah.
I just know,
I'm trying to think of the one from the other day. I feel like it was, there's also always a lot around food in Australia,
Yep.
Sanger, for example.
Yes. See, that's more slang. I'm more thinking of weird.
It is a slang.
Weird analogy, like water off a duck's back.
Yeah.
And someone being like, "What do you mean? What does water in a duck have to do with not worrying about it, letting it go?" And then they'd be like, "What does that mean?" And I'll be like, "Well, how do I explain it? I guess it just means not to worry about it, let it go, just water and oil, they don't mean water off a duck's back." And
yeah, that's I'm just trying to think of one that around food. There's always a lot. I don't know.
Can't think of any now.
Can't, no.
My brain has just I feel like I've just been put on the spot. My brain's not working.
Yeah. So how was your dog last night?
She was good. She was very snuggly, a little burrito baby.
Baby.
Yep. So she jumped up on the bed and was wrapped up swaddled.
Yeah.
She's a massive staffy, but she was just laying between me and Mr. Loz, and that made her happy.
Was she freaked out?
A little bit, but as long as she was with us, she was fine. A few big ones and she was a bit sooky, but she was all right.
Well, I bumped into someone last night, this is earlier in the night, and I said, "Oh, are you going to go to work tonight?" He works at a food place. And he said, "No, I'm going to go home and look after my dog." I was like, "Oh, wow. You're taking the night off?" He said, "Yeah, because he's always at that workplace." And, he said he's going to go home and look after his dog. So there was a little bit of that going on in town. People not going out. I have to say to you, big statement of the day.
Oh, here we go.
I don't think it was as big as last year in terms of the fireworks going off around town. I sat up on Anzac Hill last night. I had some KFC nuggets, which was good, thanks to KFC.
Yep.
And I paid for them, of course. I'm not just saying that. I must make it clear. So they had a special deal on the app yesterday, 30 nuggets for $10. And it's part of this new Christmas in July thing they do every year. Mm-hmm. It's not new. They do it every year, and it's really good promotion. So every day you get a different deal on the app. But anyway, I sat up there eating my nuggets, and the guy from the Centralian Today was taking photos and everything. And, it was lovely. I love it every year, looking at the fireworks going off all around you. It's I call it Armageddon. But it wasn't as big as previous years in my mind. Maybe I built it up to be something bigger. I don't know.
I also think it changes year to year based on what day it falls on. We were spoilt for a few years where it fell on weekends and it fell on a public holiday and things like that. But essentially, it's not a public holiday, so oftentimes it's fallen just on a random weekday. So when people still have to work during the day, then it's firework night and they still have to get up for work the next day, I feel like it does change the vibe a little bit.
Yeah, but we had it on a Monday last year, and I kind of think that's...
Yeah, see, I would have said last year was quieter too. I reckon the few years before that, I reckon it was huge.
Do you think people are trying to save some money as well at this time? Things are a little bit tighter. Yeah.
Probably.
Sure.
Interest rates.
Yeah, indeed. Well, look, we better get to the news.
Yes.
Time for the news. And no cliffhanger at this point, unless I can think of one of those sayings, but I'm not sure that I will. All right. I'll catch you after the news. It's news time here on Sun. I'll catch you tomorrow, one day before the show. Show day too, coming up very soon.